the Cintas Center here in Cincinnati. The Xavier students were nice enough to use presidential pictures to explain the last time Dayton won here in this city. The Flyers make the short trip south with one thing on their mind, ending a 25-game losing streak against Xavier in the Queen City. But to come away victorious, they will have to shut down one of the nation's best guards, Junior 2 Holloway. The Flyers and Musketeers are set to renew their rivalry next. The Xavier Musketeers lost to the Dayton Flyers during the regular season here in Cincinnati. The students here at the Cintas Center weren't even alive. They reconvene the rivalry tonight from inside the Cintas Center. It's presented by 5-Hour Energy. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy along with Pete Gillen, who for 9 years patrolled the sidelines here at Xavier University. You beat Dayton 8 times here in the city of Cincinnati. What is this rivalry like?
Tom, it's a player's game. A lot of ways, it's out of the coach's hands when the ball goes up in the air. It's about energy, passion, toughness, grit. In this game, expect anything. Well, this rivalry is a long one. 153rd meeting tonight. Let's take a look at the series history. Dayton leads the all-time series 82-70. Xavier won 9 of the first 12 games between the two schools. Again, the winner of this game wins the Blackburn McCafferty Trophy. It was established in 1981. Xavier leads that series 33-19. Again, their last win was back in 1981. All right, with all that said, let's break it down. Let's take a look at the LG team strategy first for the Dayton Flyers.
For Dayton, they got to score in transition. They got to really push the ball. They want to attack and get the basket before Xavier gets their defense set. They want to shoot threes in transition, try to score in the traffic, finish their shots. And they also want to pound the offensive glass. Dayton is not a real good shooting team. So a lot of times their best offense is shoot it and go get it. They got to really attack the glass. They're great athletes, pound the offensive boards.
All right, Pete, now the LG team strategy for Xavier.
For Xavier, it's all about 2 Holloway. He's one of the best point guards in the country. He's strong, he can create in the lane, he can knock down 3, he can dominate a game. He's a special player, gets fouled a lot. And the big guy, Freeze, has really improved. He lost 30 pounds, he's really tough close to the basket, he's really a talented big guy.
It's one of the best rivalries in all of college basketball. The two campuses are separated by 49 miles. It's Dayton and Xavier. The tip is coming up next. We want to welcome everybody who's been watching San Diego State defeat New Mexico. Tonight's game between Dayton and Xavier is presented to you by 5-Hour Energy. We are underway from the Cintas Center, and the Dayton Flyers in red, the road team, they control the tip, and Pete Gillen right off the bat, man-to-man defense by Xavier.
That's what they play 99% of the time, Tom.
And there's the first rebound of the night and the first foul on Chris Wright. That's a big deal. Early fouls for the Dayton Flyers.
Horrible foul for Chris Wright. He's a very good player. He's the best player. You don't want to foul 75 feet from the basket. He's too good a player to do that.
Brian Gregory told us today that we had to stay out of foul trouble. And he takes Chris Wright right out of the ballgame. Boy, that's surprising, Pete.
Yeah, well, Brian knows his players, so he might figure he's too juiced, too fired up. You got to calm down, but Brian's an outstanding coach, so he's doing what he feels best right now.
Josh Benson checks in for Chris Wright. Here's 2 Holloway. What a night he had earlier this week against UMass. Kenny Freeze had a big night as well. First chance for Freeze, and he doesn't get it to go. And the very talented freshman, Jawan Staten, brings the fast break up the floor for the Flyers. Staten to the corner. The Flyers need a big night out of Chris Johnson, also out of Paul Williams from the outside. Here's Benson, little spin move in the paint, beautiful touch, about 4 feet away from the basket.
Nice move. He brought the big guy, Kenny Freeze, from Xavier away from the basket, beat him off the bounce because he doesn't have real quick feet, Kenny Freeze.
And Benson is much quicker, and he can do that if he's consistent with it throughout the night.
Exactly. Here we see Paul Williams guarding 2 Holloway. Paul Williams is a big guard, but he's the best perimeter defender for the Flyers. That's why he's on Holloway.
2 Holloway can hit it from way downtown. That one rimmed out, and Staten with his second rebound. And again, he is quick as a cat, bringing the offense up the floor.
He is, Tom, one of the quickest point guards in the country.
Pete, he's averaging 6.6 assists per game, one of the best in the country at that number. Leads the Atlantic 10 in assists per game. Johnson's first shot of the night off the mark. So 2 3 attempts for Dayton. Both threes miss. They lead it 2-0.
They got to attack the basket off the dribble, Tom. Too many threes. They're not a good three-point shooting team. Only 33%. Go off the bounce.
As a team overall, they're 39% from the floor. That's 3s and 2s combined.
Xavier's got to go inside. Big advantage with McLean inside and Freeze inside.
Whistle blows and a foul called. Let's take a look at tonight's starting lineup. Staten is the freshman. Chris Wright was out. Now he's coming back in. Technically 3 guards for Xavier. 2 Holloway, Mark Lyons, and Dante Jackson. And that makes them formidable if all 3 are on when it comes to that, Pete.
Exactly. Dante Jackson has played great against Dayton here in Cincinnati. As you know, he won the Blackburn McCafferty Trophy the last 2 years in Cincinnati in this game.
All right, so Brian Gregory decides to put Chris Wright into the game. Calmed him down a little bit after his first foul. Here's Dante Jackson. Good matchup between Dante Jackson and Chris Johnson, both Ohio kids. One very vocal in Jackson, one very quiet in Chris Johnson. Mark Lyons with the first bucket of the night for Xavier.
Tough matchup for Staten, guarding the talented guard like 2 Holloway. He's a junior.
Right, first touch of the night. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Here's Benson with his runner. He loses it, and Johnson is fouled, or does cause the foul, going up. Time now to take a look at tonight's Scion key matchup, Pete.
For Dayton, Chris Wright is a very talented player. He leads the Flyers in scoring and rebounding. 2 Holloway's a special point guard, 20 points a game, second in the Atlantic 10. He can dominate a game off the bounce.
2 Holloway with those 20 points per game. We said he had a big night earlier this week against UMass. He has 908 career points. And Pete, he has really evolved from his sophomore year to now his junior year.
Very talented player. Last year, as you know, Jordan Crawford took 1,000,000 shots, so Holloway was in the background. Now it's his world. He's taking over games very often.
I think Jordan Crawford actually set the tone for 2 Holloway. He worked so hard on his shot, and Holloway saw that, and he did the same this offseason.
Yeah, he gets to the foul line an awful lot. He takes 9 free throws a game. That's a lot. It shows you're a great player if you get to the foul line 9 times a game.
Shot clock under 10. Holloway's second 3 of the night. He converts. He missed his first one. He took an extra step in on that one, and Xavier has a 3-point lead.
Tom, I think he's one of the top 5 point guards in the country. He's really a special player.
16:35 to play here in the first half. And a good finish by Benson, who has 4 early points.
Yeah, that's what the Flyers do best, Tom. Attack the offensive glass. Benson did a nice lift for them early in the game.
Seemed like the coaches were a little concerned, though, Pete. In A-10 play, their rebounding, although very good overall, wasn't up to what it was during the non-conference schedule.
As you know, last 2 games, they get beat on the boards, right? St. Joe's and Massachusetts.
Jackson kicks it out to Holloway. Fakes the 3 into the paint. Ooh, Kenny Freeze. Nice catch off the bobble. I don't know if Kenny Freeze could have done that 2 years ago.
Well, he juggled it, but he finished. It's important the big guy has some success early. Get his confidence going.
4 minutes gone by here in the first half. The 153rd meeting between Dayton and Xavier. Right to Benson. Shot blocked by Freeze. Here's Lyons drawing in the defense. Again, man-to-man by Dayton. It's really all you'll see from the Flyers. Holloway with a couple shoulder fakes on Staten. He's trying to take the freshman to school, and he converts on a nice post jumper.
Tommy's so strong and physical. He can get where he wants on the court. And a guard that can get in the lane off the dribble is worth his weight in gold.
9-4, Xavier on top. Early part of this first half. Johnson for 3. Good. He splashes it down from the corner.
Chris Johnson's a tremendous player. Very athletic. Crashes the boards really well. Can knock down 3s. You can't give him space, Tom. You got to jam him, make him drive.
Last year was the MVP of Dayton's run to the NIT championship. Pete, how about 4 new players at the scorers table for Dayton? We'll see them sub a lot.
I think Dayton has more depth than Xavier.
Benson called for the foul, so Freeze got good position. Xavier getting good position down low with Kenny Freeze, but the answer coming from Chris Johnson and the Dayton Flyers. So many storylines here at the Cintas Center. Xavier leads at 9-7. They've won 33 straight in the A-10 here at the Cintas Center. Pete, let's take a look at the LG team strategy. First for Dayton.
Dayton has a score in transition, Tom. Push the ball, really get it, attack the basket before defense is set by Xavier. And pound the offensive glass. They don't shoot it great, but they go get it very well.
How about the LG team strategy for Xavier now, Pete?
Now for Xavier, it's Holloway's world. He's a tremendous point guard. He can dominate, he can hit threes, penetrate, and Freeze got to show up. Sometimes he's great, sometimes he's mediocre. He's got to have a big game tonight.
He has one basket so far for Chris Mack. Kenny Freeze does. He missed a hook shot in the paint. And his man, Josh Benson, has scored a couple buckets. Wholesale changes for Dayton off the timeout. And then a turnover forced by the Flyers. Here's Parker, the transfer from Drake, and he draws the foul going up. And that's exactly what Dayton needs to do, get to the free throw line.
It's their job. Nice job defensively by the Flyers. A deflection, they get out in transition, they attack the cup, they got to score in transition. They're terrific athletes, they're fast, they run the court very well. To win this game, they got to really make it ugly and get up and down.
Last year, Dayton struggled from the free throw line. This year, as a team, they're at 70%, and Parker's one of the reasons why they improved. He's an 80% free throw shooter, and he makes his first.
You know, Tom, he's a transfer from Drake. He can play the point, can play the two. He's a good three-point shooter, though his stats don't show it. Hasn't done it, but once he gets comfortable, I think he's going to knock down some threes for the Flyers second half of the year.
Makes both of his free throws, so we're even at 9. 14:47 to play here in the first half.
Man-to-man press by Dayton. They're going to try to wear down to Holloway. He can play 2 games. Holloway can play 80 minutes. He's like, you know, the RoboCop. He can just keep going.
He has that little wrap on his right elbow. He said he's a little nicked up. It's nothing big, and it didn't affect his three-point shooting in the last game against UMass.
Exactly, but he's a tough guy. He'll play with some pain, some bumps and bruises, Tom.
A little pick and roll for Freeze. He'll just reset the offense. Shot clock is under 10. Holloway sees it. Student section chants it. Here's Jackson. He's going to let it loose off the side of the rim, and the rebound is pulled down by Kavanaugh.
Great defense by the Flyers.
Kavanaugh, who's in the game, Pete, could be important against the big men of Xavier, in particular Kenny Freeze. Right now it's Fabrizius who's been around Kenny Freeze.
Exactly. I think Kavanaugh can do a good job on Freeze. He can body up with him, give some fouls, really wail on him.
Here's Williams drawing Jackson to the baseline. Shot clock is under 10. Parker for 3, and it's good. Boy, he was 3 steps behind the arc on that one.
We said he can shoot, Tom. He just hasn't showed it, but be a great lift for the Flyers if he can knock down some threes this evening.
So an 8-0 run by the Musketeers. It's lasted 2 minutes plus now. Freeze has become a good passer as a 5 on the floor. Jackson, another 3 attempt. That one a little too long.
Too quick, Tom. I don't think his feet were set. Didn't get a real good look at the basket.
And Spearman knocked that ball out of bounds. Brian Gregory must have loved what he just saw from the Dayton Flyers on the last possession.
Nice ball screen by Kavanaugh. Parker got some space, Tom, and he nailed it. So credit Kavanaugh with getting Josh Parker free. A nice screen. Parker's got a big lift. He was a good player for Drake and transferred, sat out last year, and gives him a nice lift. Experience, tough. I don't know if he can handle Holloway. Nobody can handle him, but he's a good player.
You see the by the way, Parker averaged just under 11 points a game when he was at Drake.
A valuable player. They hated to lose him.
Here's McLean outside to Holloway. Parker comes out on him. Staten covering Lyons out front. Now Fabrizius picks him up, and he shoots over top of him. Robinson tries the putback, and he falls to the floor. Another good defensive set by Dayton. Kavanaugh covered by Robinson inside. And now he curls outside. Ball screen by Fabrizius. Here's Parker. Second straight 3 attempt. No good. Rolls in and out. And a loose ball picked up by Kavanaugh.
Another offensive rebound for the Flyers if they do best.
Fabrizius from way downtown. No good. He's a pretty good shooter. He really hasn't gotten into the mix the way they expected, but he's also been banged up with a sore ankle.
I think he missed the first 6 games of the year, Tom, so he's not really set, and his game wind isn't there. Wow, that's something. You do that out in the street, you go to jail for 6 months. I mean, that was physical under the post.
Out of bounds, tipped by Xavier. Well, one of the keys to the Xavier Musketeers, they thought coming in this year, was Brad Redford, a sharpshooter from the outside. He tore his ACL before the season began. He's been keeping busy doing some interviews with his teammates. You can see them on redfordsrundown.com. Here's a piece of one of those interviews, and we'll join Brad Redford when we return to the Cintas Center with Dayton on top by 3.
I want to know what the three-headed monster is doing on game day. What are you guys doing to get mentally ready, physically ready, but also celebration ready? What techniques are you taking when Kenny Freeze makes a big dunk?
I'll give it one leg. Hey.
Nighthawk, Italian Stallion, and Team Wolf, thank you for your time, and that's the first interview for redfordsrundown.com.
Time now to take a look at our icy hot injury report. We mentioned that Brad Redford tore his ACL before the season. He's out for the year. Jay Canty is also out with a foot injury. He'll miss the next 3 or 4 weeks. And Brad has been nice enough to join us here as our on-site reporter. The timeout gives Chris Mack a chance to get things together for the Xavier Musketeers. Brad, what do you think he's looking at?
Well, guys, in that timeout, he was talking about rebounding. It's something he's been talking about all week. Chris Johnson and Chris Wright hit the boards hard, and we need to make sure we get bodies on them. Offensively, two Holloway and Mark Lyons have made really good plays early on, but we need to make sure we go inside. Jamel McClain and Kenny Freeze have a big size advantage, and we need to take advantage of that.
All right, Brad, we appreciate that very much. Best of luck with your rehab, my friend.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys.
All right, Brad Redford joining us with a little insight on what Chris Mack was thinking, and Brad's right, because Dayton, 9 rebounds to Xavier's 4. That is a big key.
What Dayton does best, they shoot it, Tom, and they go get it. Tremendous offensive rebounding team.
3-point lead for the Flyers. Here's Staten out front, covered by 2 Holloway.
This is a grow-up game for Juwan State, playing against a tremendous point guard. He's a freshman. Tough atmosphere against a terrific Xavier team.
Shot clock, Pete, is under 10. Dayton's run the shot clock down a couple different times, and there's an illegal screen set by the Flyers. That foul will go against Devin Searcy.
As a coach, you don't mind that because it's physical. You know, you're wailing somebody, you're trying to help your teammate get free, so you're not happy, but you're not really too upset because you're being aggressive. You're playing tough and physical.
11:10 to play here in the first half. Dayton has shot 40%. Xavier shot 36% so far in this half. Here's Dante Jackson from the corner, covered by State. Nice drive, reverse layup. He doesn't get the roll. And the ball knocked out of bounds by the Flyers. It'll be a fresh 35 for Xavier. That's an aggressive move by Dante Jackson.
Dante made a great move. Juwan Staten, the freshman's going against a senior. So Juwan Staten's got his hands full if he's got to guard Dante Jackson or if he's got to guard Holloway for a little bit. He's really this is going to be a tough matchup for this talented freshman. I love Juwan Staten. Tremendous point guard. Lightning quick, but for a freshman to play against these upperclassmen, that's difficult.
Brian Gregory, who mentioned in his 8th season as the head coach of the Dayton Flyers. 164 victories. His team won the NIT championship last year. They upended North Carolina at Madison Square Garden.
Tremendous coach. Excellent energy. Really knows the game. Worked for Tom Izzo, one of my favorite coaches in college basketball at Michigan State. So Flyers are in great hands with Brian Gregory.
Robinson and McLean playing catch along the perimeter. Now to Holloway. He feeds the post. Let's see what McLean can do. Good drive. Gets the roll, and he's fouled.
The Xavier big men have a lot of moves. Sometimes it's good, Tom, to turn and face the guy. And McLean here gets the ball. He turns and face Devin Searcy. He's a little quicker. Nice spin move. Excellent finish. Sometimes it's better to turn and face. Turned and face. Sigma pivot. Nice move. Nice finish inside. He's a little too quick for Devin Searcy. So if you're quicker than a guy, Tom, take him away from the basket another step and go by him. Great move by Jamel McLean, transfer from Tulsa University.
See his numbers this year. He's nearly averaging a double-double, which is hard to do. And he makes the free throw to finish off the three-point play. And we're all even at 12.
He's on fire. The last 3 games, Tom, he's averaging 15 a game. So Jamel McLean
is really doing a good job now for the Musketeers. I would go inside to the big guys if I'm Xavier. Give it a freeze and McLean, throw the ball inside.
Williams gives up his dribble way up top, and Dayton comes to help out. Dayton is learning on the job as a freshman. The shot clock is under 10. Williams from the corner for three, no good. And then Dayton now 2 of 7 from outside the arc. Holloway will drive to the basket, and he'll draw the foul. And he does that better than most in the Atlantic 10.
He's unbelievable in open court. Tom, when you take a long shot, usually it's a long rebound, and you can get hurt in transition. Paul Williams is a great three-point shooter. He usually makes that, but long shot, long rebound, boom, Xavier's off in transition. Holloway's a magician in the open court. He goes to the cup, gets fouled, and he shoots 82%, 83% from the free throw stripe, so he's a Terminator.
3-time Atlantic 10 Player of the Week makes the first free throw. Little bump by Chris Johnson as he exits the floor. Johnson will check out with 2 personal fouls. That's a big deal.
Can't lose him. A little bit of gamesmanship.
See to Holloway's resume. 20 points per game, second in the A-10. 5.4 assists per game. And as we said, he's a very good free throw shooter. Brian Gregory is not happy that they called the foul on Chris Johnson. He thought that the foul should have been against Paul Williams, because as we mentioned, Johnson has 2 personal fouls, and that's not something that Dayton wants to play with. He has 2. Chris Wright picked up that one very early, and you see the difference in fouls between the 2 teams.
7-1, yeah. When I was coaching, I let the referees know, hey, 7-1, what's going on? They're getting breakfast in bed. What's up with this? Sure, Brian's doing the same thing.
A 3 attempt from the corner for Dayton.
Got a little guy. It's a pride game. Young man from Dayton, Ohio, playing for the Flyers.
Went to Thurgood Marshall High School before he transferred to Oak Hill Academy. Jackson, nice spin move, freed himself. Shot short, though. I think he thought he was going to be contested after that spin. Spearman draws the defense before kicking it back to Dayton.
Dayton, be patient. Keep attacking off the dribble. Make Xavier play defense.
Benson finds Dayton. Little dribble drive picked up nicely by McLean. Will help defense there by the Musketeers. Tough shot by Dayton. No good. Wright comes flying in for the rebound. Benson gets control, and he's fouled going up. 6 first-half points for Josh Benson.
When you have dribble penetration, all the defense comes in on it. He had dribble penetration by Dayton. They all come in on him. Shot goes up. There goes right to the glass. Nobody screens him out. Here goes Josh Benson. Attack the cup. Terrific offense. That's their best offense, going to the glass. Shoot it and go get it, Flyers. They got it.
Coach, they talk about nose for the ball. Chris Wright, as a rebounder, just seems to know where he's supposed to go.
Exactly, Tom. But what created that was the dribble penetration by Dayton. Everybody, all the white shirts of Xavier, converged on him. The lanes were open for the Flyers, for Chris Wright, as you said, and Benson to get that second shot.
7 points now for Benson. Devin Oliver, the freshman out of Kalamazoo, Michigan, checks in for Paul Williams.
Good, Dayton, you got to be ecstatic with the job that Josh Benson is doing for your team early in the game.
He's come out with a lot of energy, and it's kind of neutralized Kenny Freeze in the early going.
Yep. Got to get him involved. Xavier's got to get Kenny Freeze and McLean involved. Get it to the big guys. It can't be all Holloway, as good as he is.
Wright is on McLean down low. Benson's on Freeze on the opposite post.
Yep. Xavier trying to get Chris Wright his second foul.
Little hand-checking foul on Spearman. Well, Chris Mack in his second season as the head coach of Xavier. His team, and he was an assistant under Sean Miller, has won 4 straight Atlantic 10 regular season titles. How about a trip to the Sweet 16 in his first year as a head coach?
That is unbelievable. He was the only rookie coach to go to the NCAA, and now he got in, won 2 games, and almost beat Kansas State to go to the Elite Eight. So Chris Mack played for me at Xavier for 3 years, transferred in from Evansville. I knew he could be a coach. I didn't know he'd be in the Sweet 16 his first year. So he a very smart guy, and I really loved coaching him for 3 years. 1 year he sat out, and 2 years he played for me.
Kenny Clark and Gary Prager with a word for Brian Gregory. Front end of the 1-1. And Holloway is a sure bet most times. Well, Chris Mack's team has won 4 straight Atlantic 10 titles. St. Joseph's from 01 to 05. Jameer Nelson's teams. And UMass 92 to 96. Marcus Camby's teams. Each won 5 straight A10 regular season titles.
And a big reason for that, Tom, as you know, Xavier was 8-0 4 years in a row in conference play at home. Nobody beats him in Cintas now. Maybe Dayton could do it tonight. I like the way the Flyers will come out, but if you hold serve at home and win some on the road, you got a great chance to win the championship, which Xavier has done 4 straight years in the Atlantic 10 regular season.
You know, I mentioned before, Xavier's won 33 straight in the league here at the Cintas Center, and a traveling violation called on Chris Wright. 5th turnover for the Flyers.
Greg didn't like that. It was a good call by Joey DeMayo, a veteran official. Good call.
Joe DeMayo, Gary Prager, Ken Clark are the 3 officials for tonight's game.
I like the idea that Dayton is attacking Xavier. They're not sitting back. They're pressing. I think that's a good move. They're not stealing it, but they're trying to wear down Xavier because Dayton is deeper, more athletic and deeper. They don't have the size, but they have the depth and the numbers.
Freeze, nice position down low. Wow, look at that body control by the 7-footer. Tell you what, Pete, I've been impressed with his progress in the Atlantic 10. He could be the most improved player right now in the Atlantic 10.
Exactly. Lost 30 pounds, Tom. Terrific shape.
And now Benson with his 9th point of this half off the pass from Parker.
Great pass. Josh Parker stepping up.
We've had 4 ties, 5 lead changes in this first half, which is what we kind of expected. Lions dribbled that off the foot of Spearman and out of bounds. It'll remain Xavier ball with the shot clock at 18. 7:21 to play here in the first half. It's a 2-point lead for the Dayton Flyers. Little extra pass down low for Kenny Freeze. Great ball movement. The same can be said for the Dayton Flyers and Josh Benson.
Right now we have Dayton Flyers 20 to 18. They're doing a terrific job here. We'll see what they do now. All right, we're going to start rolling it. Nice ball screen. All right, hold it right there. We're looking inside now for the big guy, Kenny Freeze. Okay, we keep moving. They throw the ball here. They front them in the post. Hold it. Right there. They front them in the post. There's no help. Nice pass over the top. Nice finish for Xavier. Get the ball to the big guy. Let the big dog eat.
One of the more impressive things, I think, Pete, about that play was the body control that Kenny Freeze had at 7 feet tall, and they need that inside presence for Xavier.
He's worked really hard in the offseason. Lost 30 pounds. He's playing well. Let the big dog eat. Get him the ball.
All right, let's take a look at the 5-hour energy stat pack from this first half so far. Field goals, both with 15. Fouls, Dayton with 8 already. And how about the bench points for Dayton, Pete?
You got to love that. If you're the Flyers, 14 bench points to none for Xavier. Dayton has a deeper bench, a more athletic bench. Keep the tempo up. Dayton's got a chance for a big upset. We got a long way to go, but Dayton's playing great early.
One of the big reasons why the bench points are so high for the Flyers is because of Josh Benson, who's still on the floor. He has 9 first half points for the Flyers. 2 of 3 from the floor, 4 for 4 from the free throw line. Again, just to reset things, there's 18 on the shot clock for Xavier off this inbound by Dante Jackson.
Once again, another guy guarding to Holloway. Now Josh Parker's got him. We saw before Paul Williams had him. Staten had him for a little bit, so they're putting different guys on, trying to wear down to Holloway, but he can run all night.
I wonder if they realize the shot clock is at 4. It's a traveling violation called on Holloway. Well, from the Cintas Center here in Cincinnati, Ohio, it's one of the best matchups, one of the best rivalries in college basketball. It's Dayton and Xavier, along with Pete Gillett, who coached for 9 years at Xavier University. I'm Tom McCarthy. Dayton in the road red, Xavier in the home white. Dayton has not won in Cincinnati, whether here at the Cintas Center, at the arena downtown, or at Cincinnati Gardens since 1981. It was the first game of the Blackbird McCafferty Trophy that's given out to the winner during the 2 regular season games played. Shot clock is at 5. Williams' jumper is good. That's a 2-point field goal.
Perfect possession for the Flyers. Run the clock down, make Xavier play defense. Xavier's not that deep. Tire him out a little bit. Nice shot by Williams. He shoots 48% from threes. That was a little bit inside the 3, Tom, but he's a terrific shooter.
Back in his senior year at high school, he was the Michigan's Mr. Basketball at Renaissance High School.
Xavier's got to get some more help now for Holloway. Get the ball to McLean. Get him the basketball inside.
Now, does that fall on the shoulders of Dante Jackson and Mark Lyons?
Yeah, and Holloway, too. I mean, he's a great scorer, but can he beat Dayton by himself? He can, but if I'm Xavier, I want to get a little more help from my teammates.
Boy, he could take the deepest of threes, and he just took one right there.
Tremendous player. I think one of the top 5 point guards in the country.
Do you think he has a chance to play at the next level?
I think he does. He's strong, he can shoot, penetrate. Holloway gets some space. You can't give him space. That time he goes under the screen. Parker went under the screen. Too much space. Bottom. You can't go under the screen with Holloway. You got to go over the top of the screen.
Well, the foul called on the Musketeers. Mark Lyons with his second personal foul. Into the game for the first time is Andrew Taylor, who did not play until the second half against UMass. Taylor and Johnny Mazza and Kevin Feeney are the walk-ons. And Taylor, who started his career at Hamilton, or Hillsdale College, is now a big part of this team. How about Holloway? He's a big part of this team. Came in to Xavier known as Terrell, but wanted to change his name to his nickname as a kid, which was Two. Look what he did as Terrell, and look what he's done now as Holloway.
Call him whatever he wants. He's a great player. He wants to change his game next year, change it, call him Googie. Whatever it takes. Call him whatever he wants. He's a great player.
Last year, he approached Chris Mack, his head coach, and asked if he could change his name to Two. Chris Mack said, if you play well against Team A, I'll think about it. Well, he played well. Chris Mack thought he forgot about it. And then in the summer, he approached Chris Mack again, and they decided to allow him to change it to Two.
Yeah, that was his name when he was young. Chris Wright, attacking the basket. Can't give him space. Tremendous first step by Chris Wright. Leading scorer, leading rebounder for Dayton.
Andrew Taylor called for the foul. Mentioned that Taylor went to Hillsdale College, played in 35 games last year. Already has a business management degree here at Xavier. He and Jamel McLean have already picked up degrees and are taking some extra credits now. Wright misses the first free throw, and Pete, I said the other day that this kid has the best personality in the Atlantic 10. Not only that, he has a pretty good offensive and defensive resume.
Yeah, terrific personality. We were at the shoot-around today. Tommy came over, said hello, introduced himself. Well, you know him. He's done a lot of their games, and I've done a few. Really a terrific young man, very talented. But the one weakness in his game is free throw shooting. 62% from the free throw line coming into the game, and he missed 2 big ones. You can't do that if you want to upset Xavier here in Cincinnati.
He is a 2-time MVP of the Blackburn-McCafferty games that take place during the regular season between these two schools, named for the former coach at Dayton, Tom Blackburn, and the former coach at Xavier, Jim McCafferty. And Robinson for 3 from the corner. Gives Xavier the lead. Staten drives right side of the lane. Boy, did he cup that ball on his hip beautifully, and then he laid it in.
Boy, is he quick. I love that little guy, boy. Flyers have a great future with him running the team for 4 years.
At the start of the year was part of the Bob Cousy Award list. It's been pared down. It still includes Holloway. But for a freshman to be on that list is rather impressive. Taylor puts it on the floor, and he gets the roll up the side of the rim.
Nice job. Bench play is crucial for Xavier. Dayton's going to come at you in waves and waves.
Dayton has dominated the bench points tonight, but that bucket by Taylor makes it a 2-point game with 4 minutes to play in the first half. Parker and Staten on the floor at the same time, right from the high post. And Williams pulls off the offensive rebound.
Another offensive rebound for the Flyers.
Williams for 3. It's good. Paul Williams, second straight bucket. One-point lead for the Flyers. Back and forth we go here in the first half. Both teams now shooting at 50%. Robinson draws the defense. Freeze from 15. Nice touch from the outside. Kenny Freeze with 6 points in this first half.
Nice touch for the big fella.
Kavanaugh posts up against Freeze.
Right.
Crossover by Dayton into the paint. Bounce pass to Wright, and he draws the foul. Well, Pete, we've got a 1-point lead for the Musketeers.
Guards that can penetrate or work their weight in gold. Nice penetrate inside. Taylor with the finish. Young man off the bench did a great job. I love this little guy. Williams steps up. The junior. Bottom.
Oh, back here at the Cintas Center, those are the presidents that have been in office since the last time Dayton has won here in Cincinnati. Hey, coming up at AT&T at the half, Molly Karam has a feature on UMass senior guard Anthony Gurley, plus Pete's all-time A10 team, and we'll revisit our keys to the game. Let's take a look at our TaxSlayers.com Stars of the Week. How about Jimmer Fredette of BYU? What a season he is having. The Mars twins are playing well for Kansas. It's been a fun year so far in college basketball. All right, Pete, we've talked about Holloway, how good he is. Show us how good he is.
Guards that can penetrate or work their weight in goal. Here we see penetration by Holloway. He gets a screen, penetrate, freeze it. All the three defenders come up on it. Three guys on Holloway. Robinson's on in the corner. He lines it up, catches the ball, plenty of time and space. Bottom. Guards that can penetrate or work their weight in goal.
How about Jeff Robinson being that confident to take and make that three? He only had one made three before that one. So there's the resume for tonight. 5 ties, 7 lead changes, a whole lot of entertainment, and a great rivalry. These two campuses are split by 49 miles. And Pete, we asked you before about this rivalry. Obviously, Xavier has Cincinnati. That's a big rival. But being in the same conference now that these two teams are in, you know, they get a chance to face each other twice in the regular season, and then maybe a third time during the postseason like last year.
Very often it happens, Tom. In the A10 tournament, they run into each other in the semis or the quarterfinals. But a great rivalry, two terrific programs. The Flyers have wonderful fans. They love their team. Xavier, they love their team. So it's a great rivalry, and players know each other. They love to compete against each other.
Well, we mentioned that back in 1981, they decided to give a trophy out to the winner of this game, and also an MVP award, which Chris Wright, who made one and missed one free throw, has won twice. It's in honor of Tom Blackburn, who coached at Dayton from 47 to 64, and Jim McCafferty, who coached at Xavier from 51 to 63. It's called the Blackburn-McCafferty Trophy.
Dante Jackson won it the last 2 times here in Cincinnati, and Chris Wright's won it a couple of times, Tom, right?
Yep. Jackson's 3 from the outside, short. He's been short a couple times tonight. Our 8th tie of the game. Just 2 turnovers in this first half. That's pretty impressive.
Exactly, especially on the road, Tom.
And a 2-point field goal. And Chris Wright showing the touch from the outside.
If he can knock down shots, boy, he's really a monster to defend. But he's got to make his free throws, Tom. 1 for 4. To beat Xavier, you've got to cash in your free throws.
Holloway, he had 3-pointer on his mind once he rolled off that screen up top. Under 2 minutes to play here in the first half. Dayton fouled from behind. Well, here's this last Dayton basket. From time to time, Chris Wright shows a propensity to be able to hit that outside shot piece.
2 guys went over to Paul Williams off the screen. Chris Wright stepped back and hit the shot. So, once again, dribble penetration. Off the ball screen, the big guy and Chris Wright went to help on Paul Williams. 2 guys were on the ball. Wright stepped to his left and nailed it. So, he's if he gets his confidence in his perimeter game, he can really hurt Xavier.
Dayton to the line. Dayton, 55% for the free throw line for the year. And he misses the first one. And the rebound taken by Xavier. That ball knocked out of bounds by the Flyers. It remains Xavier ball. Dayton just missed that free throw. He's 0 for 1 as a team. Dayton is starting to scuffle from the free throw line. They need to be better. Talked about Chris Wright's struggles tonight. But as a team, if Dayton's going to get to the line, they need to be able to make more than 4 of 8, which is where they're at right now.
They missed the front end of the 1-on-1,
yep.
The last one. So free throws win a lot of games. Right now, Xavier's 5 for 5. Dayton's only 4 for 8.
Holloway Little crossover against Williams. Freeze. The handoff with 10 on the shot clock. The entry pass against Benson to the baseline, and he's fouled going up. Boy, there were tight quarters down along that baseline for Kenny Freeze.
If he gets the ball real deep, Tom, he's murder. Back this man in. Back this man, he got in too deep. Josh Benson is too big, too strong. You can't let a big guy get that deep, Tom. What you got to do is bump him before he gets there. Play him before he gets it. He's laughing. He's got a foul. I don't think that's very funny.
No, it's his second personal foul. As Freeze will go to the line for 2. Misses the first one. Xavier now 5 of 6. Kavanaugh checks in for Benson. Spearman checks out. Parker checks back in. Chris Johnson's been on the bench for a while with 2 personal fouls.
That's Brian Gregory's strategy, Tom. You get 2 fouls in the first half, he usually sits you for the whole half, so he's got to be happy with that. Hanging in there, up 1 minute to go. One of your best players not playing very much in the first half.
Williams with the ball up top as we hit the 1-minute mark here in the first half. Foul on the floor. It'll go against Jeff Robinson. Yeah, that'll be his first personal foul. It's the team's 6th foul. Or I should say it's the 8th team foul. And Paul Williams will get a 1-and-1 opportunity. Williams 85% for the free throw line. And he makes the first, so he'll get a second one.
He's a good player. He's doing a good job defensively, keeping Holloway somewhat in check, Tom. You don't shut out to Holloway, but if you can slow him down right now, I think Paul Williams doing a nice job slowing down Holloway just a little bit.
Pete, Dayton's largest lead has been 4 in this half. Xavier's largest lead has been 5. If Williams can make this free throw, and he does, it'll be a 3-point lead with 59 seconds to play in the first half.
Had a great game. 2 excellent teams, very well coached.
So a timeout called with 56.5 to play. Dayton and Brian Gregory on top by 3. Oh, the last win for the Dayton Flyers here in Cincinnati. It was back on January 10th, 1981. You still had 4 years of being an assistant coach before you took over the Xavier Musketeers, and the Xavier fans have let the Dayton players and their fans know about it. There's all these presidential pictures. There's signs with the date up there. I thought the presidential pictures were outstanding.
It was great.
Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, George Bush, both Bushes.
It's unbelievable. Once again, age of the media, there's no secrets. Get pounded every day.
Very creative, and that was creative. 2 big men working their way from the outside to the inside as Kenny Freeze gets the pass from McLean and a timeout called by Dayton. 34.6 to play. I was impressed with this the other night, Pete. The big men passing to each other. Freeze did it the other night, and tonight it's McLean.
Nice play out of a timeout. Holloway sets a screen. A little guy set it in screen for the big guy. Nice job. Freeze, a nice screen by Holloway. Kicked it inside. Freeze got open, but who made the play was to Holloway. Little guy set a good screen. Freeze got free, as you said. McLean, the other big guy, threw it to the big guy. Louis Orr was my assistant for a long time at Xavier, then at Providence. Said the best guys that feed the big guys sometimes are other big guys because they appreciate it, they know where to look for, and they're more cognizant of the fact get the ball to the big guy.
It's not this way on the college game all the time, but sometimes, you know, guards have a tough time feeding the ball inside. They don't think a guy is open when in reality he probably is open with good position.
Yeah, you know, they're worried about protecting the basketball, Tom, but it was a great play by Chris Mack drawing that up out of a timeout.
See the difference between the shot clock and the game clock. Dayton leads it by 1. We've had 8 lead changes, 6 ties in this first half.
It's important now Dayton doesn't shoot it too early. Shoot it with about 7 seconds, not before.
Shot clock down to 5. Parker with a dribble drive. Off balance. That's goaltending on McLean. No, they're going to say a shot clock violation. I thought McLean, when he hit the rim going up, would be called for goaltending. And I wonder if Gary Prager is going to talk to Joe DeMeo about that right now. Gary Prager is going to come over, I think, take a look at this. Watch it, Pete. Parker with the drive. Here comes McLean and Robinson. It was actually Robinson who got the hand on the rim.
I think the shot clock had expired.
Okay.
Because he double clutched it, Tom. He brought it up and then down. So I think it was a good call by Joey DeMaio.
All right, so they're going to change what the game clock says. I believe they're going to put 3.6 on it. Robinson checks out.
It's an eternity now. If you're Dayton, switch on any screen, jump up and down low moon, make an easy pass.
Holloway, tough catch, and it was knocked out of bounds by Parker.
You know, they're going to Holloway, so you still want to foul if you're the Flyers. Holloway's going to go for a touchdown now.
And he dropped it again. Lets it go from just past midcourt, and time has expired. So Dayton leads it by 1, 32-31. We hit the half here at the Cintas Center in Cincinnati. It was a very entertaining first half. Coming up, it'll be AT&T at the half with Dayton on top 32-31 over Xavier.
College basketball on the CBS College Sports Network is being brought to you by Icy Hot. Goes on icy to dull the pain, then gets hot to relax it away. By TaxSlayer.com, providing free tax returns for active duty military. And by Emergency. Get a free sample at myemergency.com and feel the good.
Well, Dayton leads it by 1, 32-31. A full house here at the Cintas Center. Let's take a look at the Burger King breakdown and see how Xavier had their way against Dayton on this one, Pete.
Here we have a screen-to-screener. To Holloway now gets a screen from the big guy inside. All right, right there we see a back screen for 2 Holloway. So we set a screen. Now all of a sudden Holloway's going to come through. He's going to screen for Kenny Free. So a screen for Holloway. Now Holloway who got the screen, he screened. We screen the screener. They throw it inside to the big guy. Nice pass inside.
That's 9 points for Kenny Freeze. Let's review the first half stats reeled in by Bass Pro Shops. Pretty good field goal percentage for both teams, Steve.
Both teams are shooting the ball great. Right now, I like the fact they got 14 bench points for Dayton, only 5 for Xavier, so that's a difference right now.
Tonight's game is presented by 5 Hour Energy and brought to you in crystal clear high definition. What a beautiful place, the Cintas Center, one of the best on-campus facilities in the Atlantic 10, if not the best on-campus facility. We begin the second half with Dayton, a 1-point lead. Xavier with the ball. Pete?
The first 4 or 5 minutes of the second half, Tom, a key to any game, especially in an emotional game like this.
McLean, misdirected by Chris Wright, helps lead the break with Staten. Staten, little shoulder move, and he splashes it home. Pretty confident move by Juwan Staten.
How about that freshman now? He's got 7 points.
How about McLean cleaning things up and with the answer?
I think if it's a shootout at the OK Corral, it favors Dayton because they're deeper and a little more athletic. Xavier's got bigger guys inside and a great 2 Holloway.
Searcy tried to touch that off the glass. He was a little short. It's tough to shoot over a 7-footer. Holloway running, and the shot blocked by Wright, and the foul is called. McLean is a very strong athlete for Xavier, and he showed it right here.
That time Dayton scored, but Xavier came right back at him, and we get a punch shot by McLean. Sometimes the toughest thing to defend, Tom, is after you score, getting back. Some teams run better after their opponent scores. I think Dayton's one of them. So when Xavier scores, the Flyers are flying. That time we saw Xavier flying.
Well, Holloway had the assist on that basket, that fast break basket by McLean, and now he's at the free throw line to tie this ball game up at 34. Holloway, 15 points. He had 15 in the first half against UMass earlier this week. And he gives Xavier the lead by 1. Well, we had a lot of lead changes and ties in the first half. I guess we can assume the same for the second half.
Staten's got to keep being aggressive. Attack Holloway so he can't just rest on defense.
Chris Wright from 17. And Lyons takes down the rebound. That's a good outlet pass to Holloway, who then waits for his teammates and then resets the offense.
Xavier's got to get Dante Jackson going a little bit, Tom. He's a good player. He's got to get involved in the game offensively.
Lyons, strong drive, and he gets the roll off the rim. And a turnover forced by Holloway and the Musketeers. 2-on-3. Holloway bounce pass to McLean. How about this run by Xavier out of the half?
With Dayton now, they score again. You got to call a timeout. Can't let the game get away from them.
Holloway, nearly another steal. The shot clock does not reset. It's at 20 and counting. 5-point lead for Xavier matches its high water mark for the game. Shot clock under 10. Wright with the drive and an offensive foul called on Chris Wright. How about this snowstorm coming in with the Xavier Musketeers?
Nice job here. Terrific drive by Lyons. He uses his body, protects the ball. Nice finish. Then Holloway steps in with terrific hands. A steal. They share the basketball. McLean to Holloway. Inside, back to McLean. A flush. Tremendous little run by the Xavier Musketeers.
It's not often that you see a perfectly executed two-hand bounce pass, but you just saw that with Holloway, who takes the three. And Searcy will quiet things a little bit with that defensive board.
Got to keep running if you're Dayton, though. Push it.
Quick movement from Johnson to Wright, and that one pinballed around and went down for Chris Wright. Chris Johnson missed most of the first half, Pete. He's going to be key for Dayton in the second half to get rolling, too.
Tremendous player. A lot of courage, big heart.
Well, here, he was the passer to finish things off for Chris Wright.
Nice pass inside by Johnson into Chris Wright. Little jump hook. Nice finish in the lane. You can't play behind Chris Wright in the post. He's too quick, too athletic. Chris Johnson's a big key to second half. He got 2 fouls, Tom, as you mentioned. Missed a big part of the first half, and the Flyers still had a 1-point lead without the second leading scorer.
Lyons to the line. He has 5 points with that made free throw. Xavier 9 of 10 from the free throw line.
That's the difference. The Flyers are not cashing in their free throws. A couple of missed one-on-ones. Could come down to a close game, Tom.
McLean checks out. Robinson, you just saw, checks in. And it's a 4-point lead for Xavier.
Keep pushing it if you're Dayton. I go to Josh Benson. I think Freeze might have trouble guarding him because Benson's pretty quick.
Williams for 3. Open for a second, a little too long. He had a good look. Holloway explodes at the end, draws the foul, and unable to get the continuation.
Tom, when you have a long shot, you got a long rebound, then you're very susceptible to the fast break. Paul Williams here dials up a long 3, long shot, long rebound. Here go the Musketeers. This guy's a Terminator in the open court. Holloway, a little shake and bake, a little dip and dart, scoop to Duke. 2 free throws.
Well, he's back to the free throw line again. Holloway. 7 for 7 now from the line. Benson checks in for Searcy, who picked up that foul.
Holloway gets 9 free throws a game, Tom. So great players get to the line a lot. Holloway's a great player. Make no mistake about it.
Well, he makes both free throws here. It's the largest lead of the night for Xavier. 42-36. Wright has it taken away. He went right into a triple team. Holloway leading the break. To Dante Jackson from downtown, no good. And now Chris Wright leads the break. Staten, the freshman, making a statement. That's a big-time shot for a freshman.
How about him? You want Staten. A lot of the people at Dayton were a little concerned coming into the game. Would he be able to step up? And he's been fabulous tonight.
Great relationship between Staten and Chris Wright. Staten committed to Dayton after his sophomore year in high school. Chris Johnson with the rebound. And Staten again leading the break. How about that fly by Chris Wright? That's what he's best at.
Run, Flyers, run. Make it ugly. If you're Xavier, now take your time, throw it into the big guys, throw it into Freeze.
4 minutes gone by in the second half. The 153rd meeting between Dayton and Xavier. The winner walks away with the Blackburn McCafferty Trophy. That just seemed to be too easy for Holloway.
Yeah, he's a nightmare to guard. Outside, inside, all over the place.
Dayton has won its share of games in this rivalry since they established the Blackburn McCafferty Trophy. but they haven't won here in Cincinnati, whether it be at the downtown arena, at Cincinnati Gardens, or here at the Cintas Center since 1981. Shot clock at 10. Johnson inside the arc, soft touch.
Dayton's in a rhythm right now. I think these players think defense is a town somewhere in Uruguay.
You had your share of players that thought that.
Oh, yeah. That's why I'm on Boot Hill. I'm with you, Tom. That's my fault. Couldn't go out anybody. Couldn't go out a stop sign sometimes when I was coaching.
You had to find somebody that liked defense, so, we found each other. Here's Freeze in the paint. And a pushing foul called on Benson. Been a fast second half, Pete.
Dayton's got to run. Here they push it ahead. They kick it to Staten. Pulls up, reads the defense, rises up. Bottom. Keep running Flyers. Chris Wright is the highest flyer. Goes to the hoop. Finish, Flyer, finish. Thank you very much.
Well, Xavier leads it by 2. We said there's only 49 miles that separate the two campuses, Dayton and Xavier. Well, Christy Mack, the wife of Chris Mack, there's Christy right there. She knows the distance because she went to Dayton, in fact, scored 1,268 points during her career, 11th in Dayton history. And a knee injury slowed her down a little bit, but that's pretty impressive, Pete.
Great player. I coached her husband, Chris Mack. She might have been a better offensive player than Chris. Chris was a terrific player, but I don't know if he could score that many points.
Well, there is Chris Mack, who played for Pete here at Xavier. So I'm sure during your time as a head coach, you ran across people that had connections to both schools.
Exactly. Two great schools, a lot in common. Terrific academically. Athletics are a big part of their program. Two outstanding institutions.
Two good coaches on hand tonight, Brian Gregory and Chris Mack. Two premier A-10 players, Chris Wright and that guy right there, Holloway.
He's a great player, that young man.
Chris Johnson's not too shabby as well for Dayton. Parker works off the screen, set by Fabrizius.
Dayton was at a great rhythm before. It's too bad they had to have a timeout. They were really flowing offensively.
Chris Wright, athletic move over the top of McLean.
Last year, as you know, Tom, Dayton played Xavier a great game here in Cincinnati. I think it was a 4-point contest. We weren't doing the game. I wasn't anyway, but so they're getting close.
Well, even that game at the end of the year in the Atlantic 10 tournament in Atlantic City was an outstanding game. McLean tries to knife the pass to Latham. Latham, his first action of the night. Here's Spearman. Dayton had numbers momentarily. The extra pass. Johnson from the corner. Good from the outside. How about Fabrizius? He was open, decided to give it to Chris Johnson because he was wide open.
Great decision. Once again, a very good player passed it to a tremendous player, and Johnson buried it.
Well, you see the stat pack, the ties, the lead changes. Dayton leads it by 1. 13-15 to play. Lions shot blocked by Wright. The loose ball picked up by Xavier. Chris Mack's team 26-9 last year as Chris Wright checks out of the game for the Flyers. And now Gary Prager tells Brendan Spearman and Mark Lyons, separate, boys. There is one of the more active coaches during a game, Brian Gregory. He is moving constantly up and down the sidelines.
Yeah.
And look how well his team has shot tonight, Pete.
Yeah. They shoot 39% coming into the game, and they're red hot this evening. So give them credit. They stepped up.
Man-to-man defense by Dayton. Little help by Fabrizius as Johnson covers Holloway. Under 13 minutes to play. Freeze against Kavanaugh. Left hand is good.
Terrific left-handed move by the big fella.
So Xavier retakes the lead. Then a near turnover. Ball is loose. And Kavanaugh settles things down. from the Cintas Center here in Cincinnati, Ohio, on the campus of Xavier University. Along with Pete Gillen, I'm Tom McCarthy. It's Xavier and Dayton. We've had one lead change after another. And Matt Kavanaugh on that bucket, his first of the night, just gave Dayton a 1-point lead again. And a foul called on the floor. That'll go against Spearman. Well, we've seen Dayton or Xavier run the fast break in this half. How about Dayton?
The Flyers do a tremendous job on a fast break. They pass it, they swing it. Forbezis has it, one extra pass to Chris Johnson, loads it up and knocks it down. That's where the Flyers are at their best, in transition and going to the offensive glass.
And Pete, we talked about Chris Johnson, how important it is to get him in the mix because he didn't play a whole lot in the first half. He now has 8 points overall. He's taking a breather at this moment. Spearman picks up the steal.
But it was a foul that time, Tom.
Here's Parker, draws the foul. Dante Jackson will be called for it, and Parker will get 2.
I like Josh Parker, Tom.
I do too.
He's a gutty guy. He's at Drake for a couple of years, sat out last year. Red shirt. Nice player, Josh Parker. Time Parker attacks, he's strong, goes up strong. That was kind of a touch foul, Tom. I didn't see a big foul on that one.
Well, Parker will go to the line. Dayton 6 of 10, now 7 of 11 from the free throw line. Pete, what does it say about a player who sat out last year, never played for Dayton, and was selected as one of their captains by his teammates before this year?
What a tremendous compliment, Tom. Can't get a higher compliment than that. Great.
He'll check out. Staten will check back in. Parker and Staten, part of the first-year players for the Flyers. They have this tradition when they come to a facility for the first time. Brian Gregory and the coaching staff point out a spot in that facility that the players have to run to. Well, today it was section 211 in the upper deck, and it was funny. Said to Josh Parker, "Why are you doing that?" He said, "Well, I am a first-year player."
Looks like they're climbing Mount Vesuvius. The guys were exhausted, but I was tired watching them. I had to take a shower after watching them run up.
Dayton leads it by 3. Freeze inside against Kavanaugh. From the baseline, the backboard got in the way. And that was a little unlucky right there. Poor pass by Kavanaugh. And Xavier takes the ball back.
Those are the little things that can't happen for the Flyers. You make your free throws, get the loose balls.
Fabrizi is called for that foul. It's a 3-point lead for Dayton. You're watching college basketball on the CBS College Sports Network, presented by 5 Hour Energy. Well, back here at the Cintas Center, Holloway with 20 points so far, Pete. He's also been dishing the ball around.
He's dominating the game, knocking down threes, getting to the lane, getting to the free throw line. He's a special point guard.
Not only is he shooting from the outside, but as you saw a moment ago, he's shooting from the inside. Then he takes an extra step back beyond the arc. And even over the top of a bigger player. He is tonight's Golden Corral hungriest player. It's Holloway with 20 points, which matches his season average. He's 8 for 8 from the free throw line, and he's part of a crop of really talented point guards in college basketball this year, Pete.
I think he's one of the top 5 point guards in the country, along with Jimmy Fredette from BYU, who's a points guard. He scores 1 million points. Nolan Smith from Duke. Kemba Walker, maybe the best player in the country so far this season. And Dimitri McCamey from Illinois, a tremendous point guard for the Illini.
Well, Pete, you said 2 of the keys for Xavier coming into this ball game, Holloway and Kenny Freeze. Look what they've done tonight from the floor. And then the rest of the team, 7 of 20.
Right, 10 for 15 for those 2 guys, Tom, you mentioned. That's great. So right now, Dante Jackson's got to show up, Tom. He's got to help them a little bit. He's a talented player. He's a senior. And Jamel McLean, who just cashed in the first free throw. He's got to come alive. They got to get him the ball more. So if you're Xavier, go inside to the big guys. If you're Dayton, keep running and pushing it and put different guys. Now, if Holloway goes crazy, I would consider a box and 1. Dayton doesn't play that, but I would do that. He's dominating the game.
How hard is that if you're not used to it?
No, you can't draw it up on your napkin, on the bench. you got to practice that. But I had that in my repertoire.
2-point lead for Dayton, 51-49. 11 minutes to play in the second half.
Man-to-man's not working. You got to have a plan B.
Absolutely.
Unless you're Nolan Ryan, throw 100 miles an hour, you got to have another pitch.
Spearman from just inside the arc. No good. Holloway with the rebound.
That's not the shot you want.
Yeah, he had a little time left on the clock.
That's not the shot you want. A freshman launching it now. Spearman's on Holloway. It's about the 5th guy that's guarding to Holloway. Nobody has an answer for him.
Says an awful lot, though, that Spearman is covering him now. A freshman who has a world of talent. Great basketball body. That's just going to get better. And speaking of a body that's gotten better, Kenny Freeze has shown it tonight, this whole season. He's in double digits once again. And we're tied at 51.
Kenny Freeze, it shows you what hard work during the summer will happen. Lost 30 pounds, he's much better.
Ball Williams short on that 3.
It's a good look, though. You're Dayton, you want him shooting the ball.
Pete, 8 ties in this game. We're halfway through the second half. 8 ties, 13 lead changes, counting that one right there.
Xavier's going inside. They're doing a great job going into the big dogs. Kenny Freeze and McLean inside. Nice lob pass over the defense. Could have been something there. Late foul on the Flyers. Great game, Tom. Terrific contest.
Well, we expected that it would be. These are 2 of the best teams in the Atlantic 10. Xavier 2-0 in the conference. Dayton 2-1. Their loss was to UMass, which won today over LaSalle. And McLean converts the 3-point play, and now it's Xavier with a 3-point lead. Brian Gregory, a slap on the back of Chris Johnson. 10 minutes to play in the second half. Xavier with 1 foul in this half. Dayton with 8 fouls in this half.
Can't like that if you're the Flyers. 8-1.
Sold out crowd. They average more than 10,000 here at the Cintas Center. Johnson. He was on early with his 3, and Robinson will be called for the foul as Benson went up strong to get that offensive rebound.
Good call. Really like the job that Josh Benson's doing, Tom. You know, he's crashing the boards, he's attacking the basket. 8-2. So I would be telling the officials, hey, the 2 teams in here, tell me about the rules. Are they changed? Advantage, disadvantage. Chris Mack's got to like it, but if I'm Brian Gregory, I'm going nuts.
Well, it's a fresh 35 for Dayton. Benson was not in the act of shooting. Little safety valve pass there by Staten just to get the ball in.
These are 2 very good defensive teams, but tonight offense has taken over.
Xavier allows 64 points per game on average. Dayton allows 63 points per game on average. Staten's jumper is off the mark, and Lyons is able to pull down the rebound. That's 5 rebounds for Mark Lyons.
Doing a nice job. If Xavier scores, I'm calling a timeout now if I'm Brian Gregory.
A foul called as Freeze gets the rebound. And he'll go to the free throw line.
Yep. You got to box out if you're Dayton. Freeze a big guy, 7 foot, 260 pound, long shot, long rebound. Kavanaugh didn't box him out, went for the ball. Matt Kavanaugh is a sophomore. Got to put your body on Freeze.
Freeze 1 for 2 from the line tonight. Here's the front end of the 1-and-1. And he gets the friendly roll. He's 2 of 3. 14 points now for Kenny Freeze.
Dayton's got to be careful now. Brian Gregory. Can't let this game get away from him if you're the Flyers.
Well, he's watched Xavier put together a 7-0 run over the last 2 minutes. Second shot is good. It's an 8-0 run. At one point, Dayton led 51-49. And then you see the run, 2:49. Kenny Freeze checks out. 15 points for Kenny Freeze.
A lot of coaches wait till under the 8-minute mark where you get an automatic timeout, Tom. But you got to be careful. Danger time for the Flyers.
Big offensive possession. Xavier's up 5. Dayton with the ball. Parker off the screen. Benson to the basket, and a foul on the floor.
Wow.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I would have counted that.
I would have counted the basket, too.
It's a good basket. Nice pick and pop. Parker passes to him. He's got a clear lane to the basket. He got bumped. Count the basket.
Yeah, at that point, he was...
That's a good basket.
He was in the mix of getting to the hoop. Instead, it'll be the 3rd foul for Xavier, and Dayton will inbound.
You're on the road, things are tough, Tom. You don't get breakfast in bed.
Parker off the glass. Kavanaugh puts it on the floor, and he's fouled, and the basket counts.
I love that emotion with Kavanaugh. Once again, what does Dayton do best? Run the break, offensive glass. Everybody converged on Parker. Kavanaugh gathered himself. Nice fin. Look at this. He's happy. Kavanaugh, good job. Boom. Nice finish, big foul. Yes, count the basket. We will, Matt. Don't worry. You got 2 there.
4 points, 5 rebounds for Kavanaugh. Dayton now 8 of 13 from the line, and we have a lane violation. So Kavanaugh will get another one.
He was too juiced. He scored. His arm got tired from celebrating, and he missed the free throw time.
You know, it's funny, Pete. You talk about certain players that a program misses. Dayton will miss Chris Wright when he's done this year. They'll eventually miss Chris Johnson. See the free throw percentage for the Flyers. Kavanaugh and the other big men are filling in for Kurt Hilsman, who graduated. Now, Hilsman didn't score a whole lot of points, but what a presence he was inside.
Exactly. Did a wonderful job defensively for the Flyers. Helped out. Contested shots, blocked shots, rebound. Did a lot of the dirty work. He was a glue guy for the Flyers.
Benson will check out as Kavanaugh makes the free throw. And Wright checks back in.
I like this now. Dayton's pressing. Keep being aggressive. To wear down to Holloway, but as I said, Tom, he can play 2 games. This guy's like a bionic man.
And that's not by accident.
No, he's in great condition.
He got himself free with a little hop step and a foul called, I believe, on Andrew Taylor. Wright was fouled. And it is on Taylor.
I think the referees are trying to even up the fouls, Tom, a little bit now. I'm sure Brian Gregory counseled them aggressively and say, hey, 8-2, what's going on? What's up with this?
Well, now it's 9 fouls for Xavier, or Dayton, excuse me, 5 for Xavier.
Now it's getting a little even. The head of the officials is here. Jimmy Saddlein is watching the game. So if I'm Brian Gregory, I'm saying, hey, the head of the officials is here. Jimmy Saddlein, he's marking this game. The referees get a little nervous. Part of the gamesmanship, Tom. You do that when you're in your rec league. You have gamesmanship.
I get very nervous when the athletic director walks in. See the rebounding, Dayton. 6 more rebounds than Xavier. Johnson puts it on the floor. Wow, what a move by Chris Johnson along the baseline. We're tied again at 56.
Johnson's a great player. He's MVP of the NIT, Tom, as you know, last year when the Flyers won the NIT championship, Madison Square Garden, beating North Carolina, so he's really a very talented player.
Holloway to Taylor. I'm not sure if Taylor was ready for it, but he got his bearings, and we have another lead change. Nine ties, 13 lead changes. Parker off the screen on the baseline. And McLean pulls down the rebound.
Dayton should not settle for jump shots, Tom. Keep driving the basketball. Bring the big guys out, bring McLean out, drive the ball. They're not a great jump shooting team.
Pete, Chris Wright has 9 points and 7 rebounds. Does he need to be involved a little bit more?
Definitely. Good point. You've got to drive the ball. They're not a great jump shooting team, Tom. 39% from the field coming into this game.
Good defense by Wright to force McLean to get it back out to Holloway. Shot clock at 5. Holloway with his fader. Oh, boy. That's just a man amongst boys right there, folks. 22 points for 2 Holloway. We've gone back and forth. We've had 13 lead changes. Xavier has the current lead, 60-56. Dayton has been in the mix. Chris Johnson to the hoop with a beautiful touch. But then the Musketeers able to answer with 2 Holloway. It's a 4-point lead for the Xavier Musketeers. Under 7 minutes to play in the second half. This is the kind of game that you wish would go on for a couple days. Pete, tell me what Dayton needs to do here.
Dayton right now, this is what they should do. Have the ball here at the top. All right, want to get a shot for Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson comes off 2 screens right here. They dribble the ball, kick it to him. If they help out, kick it inside to the big guy. Go to Chris Johnson off 2 screens on the baseline.
Well, we've seen that work from time to time with Chris Johnson on the floor. Johnson just made a pretty move without those screens to the cylinder. You know he can do it. He can finish. Chris Wright the same. Right now the 5 on the floor. Wright, Staten, Chris Johnson, Fabrizius, and Paul Williams. Meanwhile for Xavier, it's Lyons, McLean, Taylor, Holloway, and Dante Jackson. Well, they found Johnson for a moment. Now he works off those screens. Here's Staten, his runner. Oh boy, he slid that right off the side of the rim.
What a great young player. I love watching Juwan Staten play. Playing with a big heart.
He's in double digits. That's 11 points. Chris Johnson's in double digits for the Flyers. Both teams are over 50% from the floor in this game. With the shot clock at 10, Jackson gives up the shot for Taylor. His runner with the left hand. He recognized that he had a chance to go in against Fabrizius in that defense, and he was able to get it to go down.
Big basket for Andrew Taylor. Wow.
6 points off the bench for Taylor. Staten, no good. Wright with the follow, no good, and he's fouled going up. Well, Chris Wright can get up above the cylinder, but Dante Jackson can find the open man. Here's Andrew Taylor. Oh, it's a wonderful atmosphere here at the Cintas Center. Xavier leads it by 4, 62-58. Along with Pete Gillett, I'm Tom McCarthy. Pete won over 200 games, the head coach of the Xavier Musketeers. Very successful college coach who knows what they're going to do about turnovers. How about the last 2 games? Xavier's only turned the ball over 11 times.
It's amazing. As fast as they play, but the ball is in Holloway's hands, so that's gold in his hands.
Well, let's take a look at our AT&T game summary for tonight's ball game. All right, Pete, first half, second half, what stands out for you?
Well, right now, I like the bench points by Dayton doing a good job, 21-9. Right now, turnovers. Xavier's taking good care of the ball. Too many turnovers for the Flyers. Points in the paint. We see Xavier's doing a good job, 16-7.
Well, Xavier has the lead. We've had 9 ties, 13 lead changes. Josh Benson has been a force off the bench for the Dayton Flyers. In fact, he's been a nice shot in the arm with 9 points. But now the leader of the Flyers, Chris Wright, will go to the free throw line for 2 shots off this timeout.
He's not a good free throw shooter, Tom. 62% coming into the game.
Well, this is money time. Dayton's 9 of 13, make it 10 of 14 with that made free throw. Ten points for Chris Wright. Off the front of the rim, Chris Johnson tips it out. It's a live ball. And Wright will track it down. And a foul on Dante Jackson. That'll be the 17th foul for Xavier, so Wright will get the 1-and-1 opportunity. Well, Brian Gregory's looking up at the team fouls and saying, all right, we're getting closer. 9 for Xavier. Excuse me, 7 for Xavier, 9 for Dayton.
Chris Wright is only 2 for 6 from the charity stripe. He's a great player. You got to cash your free throws.
He's on the doorstep of a double-double, 9 points and 8 rebounds. And he misses the front end of the 1-1. Well, they've missed a few front ends in this game.
If Dayton loses, the big reason will be the foul line. Got to make your free throws.
Free throws tonight for the Flyers, 10 for 14. Jackson, scoreless from the outside, no more. It's a 6-point lead for Xavier. Dante Jackson had been 0 for 8 and 0 for 6 from beyond the arc before that one. He gives his team a 6-point lead with 5:13 to play. He's a senior, he's a veteran, and he is cool as a cucumber. Well, we haven't had too many big leads in this game, but this one, in terms of this game, Pete, is a big one. 65 59. The rivalry between Xavier and Dayton. Xavier's won 33 straight home games against the A-10. They're one away from Temple's mark, which is the most in the Atlantic 10.
It's unbelievable to beat a rival that many times in a row. It's unbelievable, Tom, you know, so...
to beat a rival and to beat teams within your conference. I was here for that St. Joseph's game. Delonte West was perfect from the floor, perfect from the free throw line in that win for St. Joseph's.
Yep. Xavier went 4 years in a row, 8-0 in conference play at home. So it's 32 and won already this year, 33, beating UMass, the game that you did, and got a chance to be 34 in conference play.
Under 5 minutes to play. Dayton trails it by 6. Williams for 3. Make it 3.
Biggest shot of the game for the Flyers. A tremendous shooter, Paul Williams. 48% from three-point land coming into the game, Tom.
He's one of the best in the Atlantic 10. He's been top 5 all season long. Kenny Freeze looking for a high-low. Nothing was there with McLean. 4.5 to play.
Try to keep it out of Holloway's hands.
Freeze got great position on Benson. Benson went high, Freeze went low.
Into the big guys. Freeze and McLean are two really powerful big guys for Xavier. Can't get behind him. That time, Benson was behind him, Tom, and you sealed him off and laid it in. 17
points for Kenny Freeze. Williams again. This time doesn't get the roll. And Lyons with another rebound. One of the littlest guys on the floor has 6 rebounds. Jackson. Dayton pulled it back. That was a good decision. He didn't have numbers. Johnson will try to bring Dayton closer, and he does. It's a 2-point game.
Good job in transition. Dayton's making the extra pass, Tom, in transition, and Xavier's not getting out to that corner.
13 points for Chris Johnson, who's covering Dante Jackson on the outside. Two very good players. Dante Jackson likes to chirp a little bit on the floor. Chris Johnson likes to let his play do the talking. Two very good players, two very different styles.
Exactly. Two tremendous players. Whatever gets you motivated, Tom.
Dayton try to tie it up or take the lead. Johnson, is he hot? He is! And Dayton retakes the lead by 1. It's our 14th lead change of the night. The Dayton Flyers, down 6, are on a 7-0 run. They lead it by 1 thanks to the sharp shooting of Chris Johnson from the same exact spot. Chris Johnson didn't play a whole lot in the first half. He was in foul trouble, but he has come to life in the second half and really has come to life the last few minutes. 13 points, one of 4 Dayton scores in double digits as we reset the final 3 minutes of this game. Dayton with 3 timeouts, Xavier with 2. We'll have free throws for both teams for the remaining 2 minutes, 50 seconds. Kenny Freeze wanted that ball inside. McLean has it blocked by Wright. Wright called for the foul. McLean will go to the free throw line. Free throws will be a big part of the final 2:45. Come on back. It's a great finish up ahead.
College basketball on the CBS College Sports Network is being brought to you by 5 Hour Energy, the no-wait, no-hassle way to a great morning. By Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here. And by Napa. Napa know-how.
Oh, this sold-out crowd here at the Cintas Center has gotten everything that they expected. Dayton leads it by 1, partly because of the work of Chris Johnson, who has 16 points. Dayton's last win over Xavier in Cincinnati back on January 10th, 1981. They've lost 25 straight here in Cincinnati. Again, the winner of this game walks away with the Blackburn McCafferty Trophy, which Dayton has won, but only because they've won up in Dayton. McLean to the free throw line. Xavier has the advantage from the line tonight. They're 16 of 19, better than 83%, whereas Dayton, Pete, is 10 of 16.
Free throws win a lot of games, Tom.
Pete, that's our 15th lead change. We had our 10th tie and our 15th lead change. And they're coming to their feet here at the Cintas Center.
If I'm Dayton now, I'm going to Chris Johnson. He's hot. Look to drive the ball. Unless you have a wide open three, drive it.
Williams drives it in against Freeze. Kicks it. Tough pass. McLean steals it. Chris Wright called for the foul, I believe. And if it is Chris Wright, then that's going to be his 5th foul. Let's see who they call it against. It is Wright. That's it. Chris Wright picked up the 5th foul.
What a shame. He had 2 careless fouls, Tom. One foul 75 feet away from the basket in the first minute and a half. And that foul. You got to know when you're a great player, you got to know how many fouls you have.
He leads with his 8th double-double of the season. Kavanaugh will check in for him. The student section, which is right behind the Dayton bench, or just next to the Dayton bench, saying so long to Chris Wright in their way.
Game still isn't over yet. Flyers still have a lot of good weapons. Staten's got to step up. The point guard who's had a tremendous game so far tonight as a freshman. And Chris Johnson certainly has had a great game. He's 14 points in the second half, so they still have enough weapons to win this game.
Possession arrow belongs to Dayton. 10 team fouls for the Flyers, so Xavier shooting 2 for the rest of the night. Meanwhile, Dayton will still be in 1-and-1 opportunities as McLean cans the first one. Chris Wright, wonderful player. 1,377 points. Leaves with a double-double. McLean. He's had the hot hand lately. 14 points, 5 rebounds. It's a 3-point lead for Xavier. Johnson, contested 3, no good. And the rebound by Holloway. He'll run the break, 4-on-2. And now Dante Jackson will spend some clock. Good decision?
Good decision. With Xavier, now take your time, go into the big guys. I go into McLean now. I think he's too quick for Kavanaugh.
Holloway nearly lost control. Shot clock winding down, you can see. Lions touch off the glass and a blocking foul on Benson. Pete, I thought he may have gotten down there.
I agree. I thought he was there. Lions drives. Either no call or a charge. He was there. He was there. I don't think he moved.
Well, you saw at the last moment Ken Clark lifted his hand up.
Yeah.
Maybe he thought that Josh Benson lifted his body up.
It's either a no call, Tom, or a charge.
6-point lead for Xavier. 1:54 to play. Staten against Holloway. And a foul called on Holloway. Holloway now with his second foul. Staten 0 for 1 from the free throw line. Pete, he's not a great free throw shooter. You expect that will get better as he gets more seasoning. Kind of surprised sometimes when freshmen come in, like Staten, playing the position he plays, and he's only a 55% free throw shooter. He makes the first one.
You're right, Tom. I'm really impressed with the young man tonight, though, in this hostile environment going against one of the top point guards in the country. Staten, 12 points. I think he's been fabulous tonight.
12 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. And it's a 4-point game. Plus, he just made 2 huge free throws for Brian Gregory.
Not over yet now.
Plenty of time. It's a lifetime in the game of basketball. 1:45 and counting.
If you're Dayton, don't foul to Holloway. 83% free throw shooter.
Again, Dayton playing without Chris Wright. Kavanaugh fouls Kenny Freeze way away from the basket. Kavanaugh just said to Chris Johnson, they told me to foul, right? They just told me to foul.
That was a mugging. Kavanaugh was just wailing on him. 2 big dinosaurs just banging each other. Look at Kavanaugh now. Boom. That's a foul. Advantage, disadvantage. But that's all right. Freeze can make it, but I mean, I'd rather have him shooting if I'm Dayton than to Holloway.
See what he's done tonight, 3 of 4, just 63.6% for the season. And he misses the first. So it's a 2-possession game now. If he makes this one, it remains a 2-possession game. Brian Gregory is signaling to his team that he wants a timeout once they get across midcourt. Second free throw. Good. 75-70. .135 and counting to play, and a timeout called by Brian Gregory. He's down to 2 timeouts. Dayton has 2. Xavier has 2. Well, it's been a long time since Dayton last won in Cincinnati in this series. 1981. What was happening in 1981? Well, Pete, Ronald Reagan was sworn in as the United States president, the first of his 2 terms. How about Chariots of Fire was the Oscar winner in 81? And you remember Indiana defeated North Carolina to win the NCAA championship, Isaiah Thomas. And Super Bowl 15 in New Orleans. Jim Plunkett resurrected his career. And Pete, I know on Saturday mornings you were watching the Smurfs.
I dig the Smurfs. I love the Smurfs big time.
There's Dutch, Ronald Reagan. UD is not one since Ronald Reagan was being sworn in as the president of the United States. No fly zone. The Dayton Flyers trail it by 5. Let's reset things again. Dayton, 2 timeouts left. Same with Xavier. 10 team fouls for the Flyers, 8 for Xavier. And the possession arrow again remains with Dayton. 5 on the floor. Staten, Kavanaugh, Johnson, Benson, and Williams. Chris Wright is fouled out, so he's not in. For Xavier, Holloway, Freeze, McLean, Jackson, and Lyons, those are their starters.
From Dayton, I want Chris Johnson to shoot the basketball, or Paul Williams, or Staten drive it.
Staten has it up top. He drives it. He's clean. He gets the layup to go.
When Dayton has attacked the basket, Tom, off the dribble, they've been tremendous. Outside shooting, up and down.
Now, do you just play good defense here?
Yeah.
That may have been a travel. It's a turnover. Here's Staten. Going to the cylinder. Tried his reverse. Benson's there to clean it up. It's a 1-point game. And a timeout called by Xavier. 11 points for Josh Benson off the bench.
Juan Staten has played like a senior. Really attacked the basket. Staten, a little hesitation, crossover dribble, goes by Holloway. Nice screen by Kavanaugh. Excellent finish by the freshman. Now a steal. Holloway loses balance. Staten goes to the cup. Attack the rim, little guy. Missed it. Nice follow inside by Josh Benson.
Pete, that was only the 5th turnover for Xavier in this game. They only have 12 turnovers the last 2 games. Let's take a look again, Pete, at a coach's clipboard.
Right now, if I'm Xavier here, I want to get the ball in bounds. I want to get it to my best player. I'm setting a screen for Holloway. Other guys over here. Get the ball to Holloway. Get it to him and clear out. All right, and then come down at the end. I want to run a pick and roll for Holloway. Set a screen for him, penetrate, try to create, kick it, or go to the rim himself. All right, with 2 guys in the court. Get the ball to Holloway's hands. Let him have the ball. Let him make the decision.
Well, Big Jim McCafferty, who was the head coach at Xavier from 51 to 63. Tom Blackburn, a wonderful coach from 47 to 64 for Dayton. They would be proud that their name is on the trophy to the winner of this game.
Both these teams are winners, Tom. There's no loser tonight. Some team will have more points, but both these teams are winners.
Under a minute to play, a 1-point game. Benson comes out on Lyons to help out, then goes back in to cover McLean. There's Holloway, just as you said.
Don't foul him now. If you're the Flyers, make him make a jump shot, which you can do, but he's deadly on the free throw line.
And maybe make him make a 2 and not a 3 also.
Or run at him.
Shot clock is under 10. Holloway against Staten, lowers his shoulder. Tough shot, good. He kissed it right off the glass. But it's still just a 1-possession game.
All he needs is a cape. He'd be Superman.
Shot clock is off. Brian Gregory wants a timeout. He has 1 left. It's a 3-point game. It's come down to a 1-possession ball game. Why to Holloway with 24 points? Here's the last 2. 27.6 to play. It's a 3-point lead for Xavier. Brian Gregory is drawing up 1 offensive set for his team. You see the reset. Dayton with 1 timeout, same with Xavier. 10 team fouls for Dayton, 8 for Xavier. And the possession arrow, again, is with the Dayton Flyers. Look what Holloway's done today, Pete.
Tremendous job. He's all over the place.
And a blocking foul called on Kenny Freeze. All right, now, Staten will go to the line, but it's a 1-and-1 opportunity. So he has to make the first one, get the second, and Dayton will still trail it by 1 if he makes both.
Exactly. Then they got a foul right away. Try not to let Holloway get the ball. But first, you got to make the free throws. As you said before, Tom, Dayton come into the game is only shooting 55% from the charity stripe. So he made 2 before, but he's got to make them tonight, right now.
He's 2 for 3 from the line tonight, 15 points, 21.6 to play. Both teams with a timeout left. Again, Chris Wright is watching for the bench. He's fouled out. Benson's taking his minutes. And the first one is good, and tell you what, there's Chris Wright. Juwan Staten may have started growing up earlier this year for the Dayton Flyers, but he is really coming of age in this game alone. 16 points, 3 of 4 from the line. Another big one coming here. 1-point game with 21.6 to play. That's a career high for State.
Don't let Holloway get it. Don't let him get it. Foul him.
How about Kenny? How about Dante Jackson?
I foul him.
There you go.
Yeah, you can't. Time is running away, so you just don't want to let Holloway, who we know is going to make him.
All right.
Dante might make him, but I would go with good idea. Got to foul him.
Dante Jackson hasn't been to the line that often for Chris Mack and the coaching staff, but he is better than 80% for the year. And you see he has not visited the stripe at all in this game.
He's a senior, but he hasn't had the ball in his hands a lot during the game, Tom.
Well, he has been cold from the outside. He's made 1 3. First of 2. Still a made free throw. Keeps it at a 1-possession game with 18.9 to play.
If he makes it, they're up 3 now.
Yep.
So Xavier's got to consider fouling, but too much time left. So play good defense, switch on all screens, and don't foul a jump shooter.
See Dante Jackson, the MVP of this game, the Blackburn-McCafferty game, 2 different times. Last 2 times here in Cincinnati. He makes it a 3-point ball game. It's 79-76, 18.9 to play. Did they go for 2 or 3?
Go for 2 unless you got a wide open 3.
Williams from the corner, short. Cavanaugh with the rebound. The putback, no good. Freeze with the rebound. Kenny Freeze playing a little defense underneath.
Decent look in the corner. Williams lines it up. Cavanaugh gets it. Freeze just put his hands up there. Good defense by Kenny Freeze. Williams is a terrific 3-point shooter, Tom. He was contested, but I think it was a good shot for the Flyers that time.
So Kenny Freeze, 4 of 6 in this game. Xavier has been controlling things at the line, 22 of 26. The first free throw would make it a 2-possession game if he makes it. And it's a 2-possession game, 9.4 to play.
If you're Dayton now, get the ball to State and go right to the rim. Attack the rim. You can score in 4 seconds. Clock stops if he gets a basket. So
has to go fast, though.
Got to go right to the rim. I wouldn't even make a pass. Get it to State, and he's lightning quick. Go to the rim, try to score, and go a timeout.
81-76. Here goes Staten.
Right to the rim. You don't need a jump shot.
He's winding around. Johnson for 3. Short. Freeze with the rebound. And the Musketeers hang on. 34 consecutive home wins in the Atlantic 10. Ties the Temple Owls conference record. Season low. Not only that, the Musketeers put another exclamation point on the Blackburn-McCafferty Trophy. 81-76, the final score. Came down to free throws, and it came down to Kenny Freeze's defense on the last Dayton possession, and it also came down to our Napa play of the game. 2 Holloway, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. How about this kiss off the glass? That was the big basket that gave Xavier a little breathing room. It still was tight at the end, but they hang on. They are dancing here at the Cintas Center. The streak continues. Xavier wins at 81-76 in front of a sold-out crowd. Well, the 153rd meeting between Xavier and Dayton was a dandy. Xavier wins it 81-76, their 26th straight win against Dayton here in Cincinnati. And the head coach of the Xavier Musketeers, Chris Mack, is standing by with Pete Gillen. Pete?
Chris, congratulations.
Thanks,
Your
Coach.
team only had 5 turnovers, which was a season low this game. How were you able to do that, only 5 turnovers?
Well, it's really not Dayton's strength. They don't play that way. They really pack it in. They're athletic, but they don't really gamble a whole lot, in passing lanes. So I thought we would take care of the ball. I didn't think we'd take care of it to the extent we did.
Chris, Holloway had 24 points, but he only took 12 shots. How was he able to do that?
Well, number one, he picked his spots really well tonight. Thought he got to the rim, he got fouled. He's such a great free throw shooter, and not only him, but the rest of our team hit some big free throws tonight. And, give credit to Sue, he was spectacular.
Chris, congratulations. Thanks very much. Good luck against Temple in the next game.
Thanks, Coach.
Over to you, Tom.
All right, Temple is the next home game next Saturday to go for the record for consecutive wins in the Atlantic 10. Holloway is the MVP of the Blackburn-McCafferty game, which Xavier wins it over Dayton 81-76. Now for Pete Gill and our entire CBS College Sports Network crew, I'm Tom McCarthy. For scores, highlights, features, and more, go to CBSCollegeSports.com. This has been a presentation of the CBS College Sports Network.